I am 73 years old today, and I'm about to share a perspective that might be difficult to hear. Almost everything you've been told about the journey of getting older is a complete fabrication. The most frustrating part? The people you trust, your parents, your mentors, the very fabric of society. They are either keeping the truth from you or they are just as lost as everyone else. I spent the first 5 decades of my life trapped in the same illusions that likely consume you right now. I was convinced I had mastered the game. I had the high-profile career, the sprawling house, and the admiration of my professional circle. But at 52, a single moment shattered that reality. What I've uncovered in the 21 years since that day has fundamentally rewritten my understanding of life, mortality, and the space between the two. Before I explain what happened, you need to understand my motive. I'm not filming this to build an ego or play the role of the wise elder. I'm doing this because my clock is winding down, and there are truths you must absorb before your own window closes. This isn't for my benefit. It is for yours. At 52, I experienced what medical professionals call a cardiac event. That's just a sterilized way of saying my heart attempted to quit on me. I was in a boardroom debating quarterly growth and projections when the world suddenly tilted on its axis. My next conscious memory is waking up in a sterile hospital room with wires snaking out of my skin and my wife's face stained with tears in the corner. The surgeons told me I was lucky. Imagine that. I had just stood on the precipice of my own end, and they called it luck. But looking back, they were right. Lying in that bed, stripped of my distractions, I faced a terrifying realization. I had been living my life on autopilot. I wasn't actually alive. I was just a ghost performing a script, ticking off boxes to satisfy the world's expectations. The thought that still haunts me is this: if my heart had stopped for good that afternoon, what would I have actually left behind? A deed to a house? A healthy 401k? A list of corporate wins that would be forgotten within 5 years? Let me expose the biggest lie you are currently telling yourself. I have time. You tell yourself you'll start living later, when you're older, when you're ready. I see people in their prime, 20s, 30s, 40s, all repeating the same mantra. When the bank account hits a certain number, I'll be happy. When I get that title, I'll finally breathe. When the kids move out, I'll travel. When I retire, I'll do what I actually love. Let me spare you 50 years of bitterness with one hard truth. That day is a mirage. It never arrives. Do you know why? Because the goalposts are on wheels. You reach the promotion, and suddenly you need the next one. You hit the income goal, and the lifestyle expands to demand more. You are forever sprinting toward a horizon that retreats with every step. Before you know it, you're 70, staring at the ceiling, wondering where the decades went. I lived this. I spent 30 years scaling a mountain of success, only to reach the peak and realize my ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. And the tragedy is, you can't climb back down to start over. Time only flows in one direction. Here is what no one tells you. Success is a hollow god. I say this as someone who checked every box on the list. I made partner. I bought the estate. I had the status. None of it stayed with me. When you hit a goal, you feel a rush for maybe 48 hours. Then it evaporates. You return to your baseline. You start looking for the next hit of validation. It is a hamster wheel built of gold, but it's still a wheel. I had a friend who passed 3 years ago at 68. He worked 70-hour weeks for 40 years. He built a massive empire, never took a real vacation, and always promised he'd slow down next year. Next year arrived in the form of a stroke. At his wake, his son said, "My father was a titan in business, but I barely knew the man." Is that the legacy you're working so hard for? When you're at the end, your regrets won't be about your failures. They will be about your absences. I don't stay awake thinking about bad business deals. Those are irrelevant. What keeps me up is the trip to Japan I never took because I was too busy. The bond with my brother that I allowed to wither. The manuscript I never started. The bedtime stories I missed because I stayed late at the office. These are the things that gnaw at your soul. The roads you were too afraid to walk. The love you held back. The risks you ignored because of logic. You think your time with your parents, your siblings, and your friends is infinite. It isn't. And one day, the door will close forever. My father died when I was 45. Our relationship was strained, and I always assumed we'd fix it when my schedule cleared up. We never got that chance. A heart attack took him in hours. My greatest burden is the Sunday calls I didn't make. The dinners I skipped because I was exhausted. The small moments I treated as disposable. There isn't always a next time. After my own brush with death, I burned my old life down. I stepped away from the grind. I started saying no to the trivial and yes to everything I had deferred for half a century. In these last 21 years, I have learned more about being human than I did in all the years prior. What actually matters is embarrassingly simple. Time with the people who see you. Work that doesn't just pay, but fulfills. Collecting experiences instead of objects. Being present in the room you are standing in. I know how this sounds. At your age, I would have rolled my eyes too. Easy for him to say, "I have bills." And you do. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm telling you not to trade the things that matter for the things that don't. Ask yourself this, and don't lie. If your life ended tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the story you've written so far? Not, would people be impressed? But would you be satisfied? If the answer is no, then what are you waiting for? What are you doing with your hours that is so vital you're willing to gamble your only life on it? I'm 73. I've been fortunate to have my health these last 2 decades. But every morning, I wake up knowing I'm on borrowed time. We all are. But the young live with the delusion of invincibility. They think they have forever. You don't. I look at my 3 grandchildren, and I see the same frantic patterns. They are stressed. They are chasing shadows. They are making the exact mistakes I made. I try to warn them, but they can't hear me. They are in the middle of the storm, convinced their situation is different, that the rules of time don't apply to them. That is why I'm recording this, because maybe, if this reaches enough people, one person will actually stop. One person will make a different choice today. One person will avoid the ghosts that haunt people like me every night. You are moving toward your end. It's an uncomfortable thought, but it's the only one that can save you. You don't have forever. Neither do the people you love. Your parents are aging in real time. Your spouse, your children. None of this is permanent. So, what is the plan? Will you keep delaying that call? Will you push that dream back another year? Will you keep telling yourself, later? Or will you wake up and realize your time is leaking away? If I could reach back and grab my 30-year-old self by the shoulders, I'd say, stop trying to impress people who don't care about you. Stop trading your health for a paycheck. Stop waiting for a permission slip to be happy. Call your parents. Take the trip. Do the thing that terrifies you. Say no to the obligations that drain you and yes to the life that fills you. And do it now. Not after the next project. Not when you have more money. Now. Because the perfect time is a lie. Life will always be messy. There will always be a reason to wait. But if you wait, you will wake up one day and realize you waited your entire life away. I'm 73. If I'm lucky, I have 10 or 15 years left. And I am at peace with that, because these last 21 years have been the richest of my existence. Not because of my bank account, but because I finally started living with intention. I've seen the places I dreamed of. I've mended the bridges with my children. I've said, I love you, until it became my default state. I am happier now at 73, with death around the corner, than I was at 30 with the world in my pocket. That's the irony. When you accept that time is short, you finally start using it. You stop wasting it on nonsense. You have a choice today. You can keep chasing the wind, or you can wake up. Realize that the life you are waiting for needs to start this second. I can't choose for you, but I can promise you this. You don't want to be 73 looking back at a life of what-ifs. Don't take 52 years to figure this out. Learn from my scars. Prioritize what is real. Someday is a trap. Today is all you have. If this hit home, share it. Tell me what you're going to change, because the clock is ticking for all of us. What are you going to do with yours?